This is Coach Marina Young, lifestyle entrepreneur and certified professional coach, and you are listening to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I believe it takes a mindset shift to take you to the next level in your career, your finances, relationships, health and fitness, or happiness. So, your journey to manifesting your goals and desires starts now. Transform your mind to transform your life. Welcome to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I'm your host, Coach Marina Young, and today in the guest chair is best-selling author Gina Gardner. She's also a motivational speaker, empowerment and relationship coach, transformational leader trainer. I am going to enjoy my conversation with Gina today because we're in the same space. Welcome, Gina.
Oh, hi there. Very pleased to be here.
Yes, and I did forget to mention that Gina lives in the UK, so we're going to be enjoying this fresh voice. Yes, it's listening to an English accent is always like a fresh wind.
Oh,
so I'm going to enjoy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let me tell you a little bit more about Gina. Gina, like I said, is the #1 international best-selling author of the book Thriving, Not Surviving, The 5 Secret Pathways to Happiness, Success, and Fulfillment. She's also a motivational speaker, empowerment and relationship coach, and transformational leadership trainer with well over 30 years of experience helping people experience happiness, success, and fulfillment. She's the founder of the Thrive Together Tribe membership and personal and spiritual development programs and the Enlightened Leadership Program. Gina has learned to walk twice as an adult. For over 20 years, she ran her award-winning school, for most part from a wheelchair. The gift of this experience was the development of a unique approach to life and the development of leadership. In 2004, Gina left her headship program and has since worked with countless individuals, couples, teams, and organizations, helping them to step into their potential, to learn the lessons from the past, and to recognize that it is their choice to step into their power and live a fearless life. Gina is passionate about supporting people to live a truly happy, successful, and fulfilling life. Awesome bio. Like I said, we're in the same space because this is why I do the show, so that people can reach their potential and know that it is possible. And I absolutely love the word thrive and not survive because, a lot of us, or a lot of people, that is, are just actually surviving. So what we're going to talk about today with Gina is on the topic, the secret pathways to happiness, success, and fulfillment. All right, Gina, before we dive deep into our topic today, I am very, 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 very curious about your backstory and the fact that you learned to walk twice. Please share.
I became a teacher and was very quickly promoted. Until I started teaching, I wasn't very confident. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But when I started teaching, I really found myself. And I was promoted very quickly. I became the deputy principal of a large, I think in America it would be the equivalent of a junior high school, when I was 28. And I was appointed to be the catalyst for change. I was the youngest bar 2 on the staff. And for the first 6 months, I was working with the principal, because I was the deputy principal, to strategically plan what we were going to do and to start making the changes. Now, in the UK, in February, schools have a week off at the spring half term. And I was really thrilled to be going skiing. I was a keen skier.
Oh, wow.
And went off to Italy. Now, in those days, it was very fashionable to have the longest skis possible. And I had a new pair of skis for Christmas, but during this holiday, I proceeded to wrap the extra 10 centimetres around my neck quite a lot of times. And on the third day, I'd had a bad fall, and I said to my friends, right, tomorrow I'm just going to get my confidence back. I'll leave you to it. Let's meet for lunch, which we did. It was an absolutely beautiful day, one of those days in the mountains where the sun is shining and everything seems sparkly. And they said, we've found this fabulous new run. Come and join us. So off we went on the chairlift, and I followed them. They turned a corner, and it didn't take much to recognize that actually this was not what they were expecting. So instead of being on a lovely red run that went for 3 or 4 kilometers, we were on the Schindlergratz, which is the most difficult black run in St. Anton.
Oh my gosh, I've heard stories like that. Wow.
Now, your listeners may not be familiar with what a mogul is. A mogul is where the snow has been carved by the weather. And they are often little, just like cobblestones, but these were 6-foot monsters. And the only way to ski was to turn on the top of a mogul and slide down and then find a way through the moguls to the next one and turn. And either side of this piece, quite a narrow piece, there was some powder snow. So I skied the first third and then lost my nerve in terms of turning and ended up falling a long way in the powder snow. And it took me about 20 minutes to retrieve my ski and then make my way down to where my friends were sitting, each of them sitting on a mogul, rather like an elf sitting on a toadstool at Christmas. Took my skis off, and we were talking, and it was, as I say, a beautifully hot day, and the top of my mogul gave way, and I started to fall. I bounced several times, and the next thing I knew, I was coming to, and I'm told I fell about 150, 200 feet down the mountain.
Oh my gosh.
It took a long time.
Did you still have your skis on, or you said you took them off, right?
No, I'd taken them off, and I think actually that's what saved my life.
Yeah.
And the fact that I knocked myself out, so I was floppy. Anyway, it took a long time for them to ski to me, and by the time they came, I was determined I didn't want to go in the blood wagon. And because I'd skied a third, fallen a third, and then fallen again, there wasn't much of the slope left to ski, and so they helped me back to the hotel.
So you're able to walk?
With difficulty.
Okay.
Anyway, we were travelling home the next morning, so I thought I'd rather go and see the medics in the UK. Terrible journey, got home. My mum took one look at me and she carted me off to accident and emergency, and they diagnosed that I'd got a bad concussion and that I had trapped a nerve in my neck. Took me 3 weeks to get back to school, and 2 weeks later I was due to be the deputy leader on the borough, the local authority party of children's skiing, and we took 150 children to Switzerland. And I was given permission to go because we were taking a doctor with us. Now, during the week when the children were skiing, I became more and more like Quasimodo. I was finding it more and more difficult to manage. But I did manage until the very last evening when I said to my colleagues, I'm going to have to go and lie down. I went and lay on my bed, and within a few minutes I discovered that I was paralyzed down one side.
You are kidding me. So, all right, so back up. So when you went to Switzerland, were you skiing again or just being like a chaperone?
No, skiing again, but very simple skiing because skiing with the children. So I was an experienced and proficient skier, very different when you're skiing with the children. It's much more about being with them and supporting them and giving them help and so on. So it wasn't any difficult skiing, but it was fairly physical.
Yeah.
And as I say, I just got to the point where I had no more left to give. So I'm lying on my bed. I can't move my one side. I didn't want to frighten the children. Their rooms were close. There were children up and down the corridor. And so I waited until one of the other adults arrived. And I have to say it was the longest time in my life. I have no idea how long it was. I just know it felt like forever.
Wow. Well, it would.
And when they did arrive, all hell broke loose. An ambulance was called. I was carted off to Geneva Hospital, and I was there for several days before being flown home. And gradually my mobility returned, but I was never quite the same. But by the end of May, I went back to school, and I was doing school and sleep. That's all I could do. So by the time we got to the school summer holidays, I was really relieved, and I thought, I've got 6 weeks now. I can really focus on recovering.
On your health. Right. Mm-hmm.
10 days, 2 weeks later, I had a phone call very early in the morning from my principal's wife. She had just found him dead in bed. He'd had a massive heart attack. And so far from it being a restful holiday, I was suddenly acting principal. I helped to organise the funeral, had to contact the staff, the parents, the local authorities, and prepare for September. And so by the time September came, I had plans in place, and by the following January, I was appointed the permanent head. And I was determined that not only the children but also the staff in my school would get the best learning environment that I could produce. I'd been very unhappy at school, and I wanted something very different for my pupils and also for the staff.
So in your bio, you say that you ran a school for 20 years in a wheelchair. So in this time, were you in a wheelchair or you were walking?
Right. At that time, I was walking, but by 1987, my mobility was deteriorating, and I had to start using a wheelchair in school. I wasn't, at that point, wheelchair-bound. I could walk into the classroom. I could walk into my office, but I couldn't walk any distance. Any walking produced fatigue and pain. And so for the next few years, I managed like that until in 1996, I sneezed and I felt something ping in my back. It was towards the end of the summer term. There's something about the summer holidays for me. I'm not quite sure what it is. And on the last day of term, I had a special chair in assembly where I could sit at standing height. And I went to get off the chair, and my legs wouldn't hold me. I was carted off the hospital, and it turned out that I had a huge ruptured disc. And I had failed back surgery syndrome, so when I came round from the operation, if I put my left foot to the floor, then I just used to faint because of the pain.
Oh, my gosh.
And I became a very good stalk.
Wow. So all this, so these injuries stemmed from that tumble that you took in Italy, where you pinched your nerve?
They believe that that the best explanation they've come up with is that during the fall, I had bruised the spinal cord, and with skiing the second time, that the spinal cord had then swollen and cut off the blood supply or whatever, and so for a period of time I was paralyzed down one side. But I was back at school after the back operation very quickly. I already had my wheelchair, so the school was all set up for me to be operating from a wheelchair. And it took me 18 months to walk to the end of my quite small garden. And then again, it was the end of the summer term. It was the last day. We went out for a meal as a staff to celebrate a very successful year. And when I came home, I felt unwell and I was sick, and I felt something ping in my back. I'd ruptured another disc. Blue lighted to hospital, and once again failed back surgery syndrome. This time I couldn't stand at all. Now, if I stayed at home, I couldn't do anything other than read or watch television. If my carer hadn't filled the kettle, left a cup out, I couldn't make myself a drink. So within 4 days, I was back at school. and I was back at school because my brain worked, my mouth worked, my hands worked. I had people who could lift things if I needed it, and I could do something that I loved and that I was good at. I decided I was going to focus on what I could do rather than what I couldn't. I mean, several months later, the consultant said to me, well, think about you going back to school a couple of hours a week. And I just laughed because I'd been back part-time for 3 weeks and full-time since then. But there you go.
Yeah. So that's a
now,
strong mind. That is a strong mind. And someone that does not focus on feeling sorry for themselves. You say you put the well-being of the children before your own. Which is why you took that second trip, too. So that's pretty good, though.
I have to also consider that my own well-being, I think if I'd been at home watching TV and reading, my well-being would not have been as good as it was when I was at school doing something I loved and something that I felt was useful.
Right.
So it wasn't all altruistic. It was better for me, too.
Right.
But now, while I was a serving principal, I also worked for in a number of other roles, partly to bring a budget into school and also to keep the school at cutting edge. So I worked for the government as an advisor. I worked for the National College of Leadership and the London Institute, all around training, facilitation and coaching to do with leadership. Fast forward to 2004. I was given an ultimatum by the neurologist. You've got to stop working the 15 hours a day that you're doing, because for me, work was great pain control. But my health was deteriorating. And I took the very difficult decision that I was going to leave. And then when I left, I thought, well, what now? Just as I left, I had an internal spinal stimulator fitted. It was a very new piece of technology at the time. And over that time, between 2004 and today, I've worked on my mobility, and I can now walk short distances. I don't use the wheelchair in the house or garden, but if I go into town or if I travel, then I have to use an electric wheelchair. But for me, it's always on fast. So here I was, all of these skills, this expertise, this experience, and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? I'm not ready for daytime television. So I set up a research project across industries to see were the issues facing us in education around the development of leadership the same for different industries. And I looked at retail, manufacturing, finance, insurance, local government, health, a whole range of industries. And surprise, surprise, the issues that they faced in terms of developing leadership was no different to us in education. So I wrote my first couple of books, and they became my credibility, if you like, my calling card. And to start with, I worked mainly in corporate land. And I did that until the recession in early 2008.
Right.
And in 1 week, my contracts, all of them, disappeared because the corporates just slashed their training and development.
Right. Yeah. That's one of those fluff things. You got to get rid of it. You got to trim the fat. Yep.
Now, I've always done life coaching, and that's around personal empowerment. But I'd started to do some lecturing for Essex University, and they would commission me out to go and work with smaller businesses, SMEs, anything up to about £8 million turnover, to work with them. And I would be invited to go and work with them. We'd sort out the problem. I'd go away, and then a few months later, I'd be invited back to sort out another problem. And so I suggested to those businesses that actually, how about that I came in and I helped them avoid those problems rather than sort them out? And that's something I still do today. And all of the businesses I work with, using the principles that I use myself, to build up my own organisation, and we were on the best 100 schools in England, the list that the Her Majesty's Inspectorate put out each year. We were on that list twice during my tenure. So I know this stuff works. And And so I started to work with businesses. But every business I've worked with for more than 9 months has become vastly more productive and much more profitable, better relationships, better work-life balance. And I've used with that the gift that my disability gave me. And the gift was that I had to develop within my own organization an approach to developing people's empowerment, personal empowerment, and leadership, where they would take radical responsibility for their own performance and shared responsibility for the team, for the whole organization. And it was incredibly successful. And we were a beacon school, which meant that we worked with dozens of other schools and hundreds of other teachers and governors to help them do the same. And the same principles and strategies work in business. And the businesses I work with are very far-ranging in terms of the industry, because I'm not an expert in their widgets. They are.
Right.
But this is about developing people.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what, executive coaching is all about. And the companies that, feel the need for their management staff to be coached, then they pay for it, and they pay the big money, because if the person is good, or the person shows up at their best, then everything else around them will be affected. So yeah,
that's right. It's hugely empowering. I mean, it's the same reason that if you look at all of the top athletes, they have a coach.
Right. Yes.
If you look at the blue chip companies, their top people, they have a coach.
Have coaches,
and they do it for good reason. I still work with companies. But what I found was that my sense of purpose was gnawing away at me. While I'd been in schools, I'd had a very strong sense that I was doing my life work, if you like.
Right.
But then over the intervening years, up until about 2 years ago, I worked with individuals, I worked with organizations and their whole team. However, I had this sense that there was so much unhappiness, so much stress and poor leadership that I needed to be doing something more. And so my purpose became, how can I help as many people as possible have access to these very simple strategies that can be implemented both as an individual, as a team, or as a whole organization, that can make a fundamental difference to the quality of life, but at the same time help the business work better too. And so I set up Genuinely You. I wrote the Thriving Not Surviving book, which we're going to talk about later in the interview. And that set me in motion in terms of my mission. And my mission now is to positively impact on 1 million people, and to do that through personal empowerment and enlightened leadership.
That's a grand goal. That is awesome. And I bet you any money that it makes you very happy, because whenever you're working towards a purpose or working towards a goal, then you become incredibly happy. So, and that's basically our topic today. Happiness. So yes, I've recognized that as a coach and as someone that's been in the space, that the definition of happiness is working towards a goal. So you became happier when you are impacting lives and changing lives and seeing the results from a little tweaks and changes, and that made you happy, and also you're able to share it. So, wow, that is an incredibly fascinating story. I knew that I was curious about it, and it's great to hear. And it started when you were 28, so you were still a babe.
Yes, well, I'm a bit longer in the tooth now, I have to say. A lot longer in the tooth.
28, the height of your prime. My goodness. Wow. So, so thank you again for sharing that. And, you definitely are qualified to in part on leadership, in part on the educational system, and any business that wants to grow their people. Our listeners that are listening right now, we are going to, in the second half, we are going to talk about Gina's book, which basically is, when I was telling her that I love the fact that, we can talk about, thriving and not surviving. Her book is called The Secret Pathways to Happiness, Success, and Fulfillment. But it's focused on thriving and not surviving. So when we come back in the second half, we'll dive deep into that. And Gina will leave us a couple of strategies that you just mentioned. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. We'll be right back.
Is your current situation you can't get a loan because of your credit? Then visit Coast Trade Lines, where credit repair is done right. Coast Trade Lines Supplies is the fastest and most reliable way to boost your credit score. We can boost your credit score in 1 week to help you qualify for a personal loan, car loan, mortgage, or credit. Plus, a better credit also helps you get approved for rental applications. For more information, visit coasttradelines.com. That is COASTRADELINES.com. Stuck at home? Here is the perfect store for you. Whether you're looking for medical supplies, home workout equipment, or survival gear, this is the place for you. Visit www.consumermedicalsupplies.com and get a 10% discount when you use promo code MYRNA. Hurry! This is only while supplies last. This website was created by a veteran who wants to help those ashore and abroad. So, support our military while you shop. That is www.consumermedicalsupplies.com, consumermedicalsupplies.com. Looking for a great Mother's Day gift? Get mom or your loved ones a nice fire opal ring for the best price at 925rings.com. 925rings.com is the place where we get the best prices for gift jewelry. 925 Rings has been visited by over 10,000 users in the past month. We offer a wide variety of jewelry at wholesale prices. Get 25% off your entire order. That is 925rings.com. The Burden of Sweetberry is an African-American Christian novel by author Carol Gusa Somerville. Set in Sipsey, Alabama in the early 60s, Sweetberry lived her life depending on men. She left home as a teenager with soul singer Eddie Simpson, hoping to live the high life in New York City. When that life ends in a tragedy, she returns home sick and penniless, with no skills and a child to take care of. All she has is her beauty and sensuality, and they become her bargaining chip with men. The Burden of Sweetberry is a powerful story of adultery and murder, the story of a selfish woman who seeks redemption after her lover murders her fiancé. Ghosts and demons haunt Sweetberry and threaten to rob her of her sanity. Can the blood of Jesus cleanse her, or will the ghost of Luther drive her insane? Pick up your copy today. Available on Amazon. The Burden of Sweetberry. Looking to promote your music? Redhead Promotions is an internet radio station that promotes all music. Country, rock, Latin, spiritual, pop, and urban pop. Just submit your best, clean, quality track to redheadpromotions.com and sell your music to your fans. We play your music along with other hit songs. And the best part is, you make it, you keep it. 100%. So, submit your music now to redheadpromotions.com. That is redheadpromotions.com. Ladies, if you're looking for premium luxury hair extensions and products, take a moment and check out myminghair.com. Ming Hair is your #1 premium virgin hair company for quality Indian and Brazilian hair, lace wigs, magnetic lashes, and custom hair and beauty accessories. We want you to look and feel your best, so we offer a wide array of styles, lengths, custom colors, bundle deals, and much more. We believe in customer satisfaction, which is why you earn rewards in every purchase. You will not be disappointed. Our hair is bouncy, luxurious, long-lasting, and stylish. Visit myminghair.com today and receive 20% off your first order and get exclusive access to other promotions. We look forward to making you a long-lasting customer with Ming Hair. That is myminghair.com.
Welcome back to Transform Your Mind, to Transform Your Life Radio Hour and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Renee Young, and in the guest chair today is Gina Gardner, best-selling author, motivational speaker, empowerment and relationship coach, and transformational leadership trainer. Wow, we had a very powerful first segment. Gina took us through her story of bravery, of purpose, of selfless acts, of putting her kids first, and how she has changed her mission now to wanting to positively impact 1 million people, by helping them to make some little tweaks in their lives. And the reason that she wrote the book, The Secret Pathways to Happiness and Fulfillment, is because that was one of the prongs on her mission. And also she created the program that's called Genuine You. I'm going to mess it up, but let me see if I have it here correctly. Yes, Genuinely You. So that's perfect. Yes. So now what I want to do is to dive a little deeper into the book and talk about some of the secrets to thriving, not surviving. Actually, it is the title of your book. You've got it down here a different way. So, Thriving, Not Surviving, the 5 Secret Pathways to Happiness and Success. Did I miss the first part? Or is actually the real title of the book?
The title, Thriving, Not Surviving, the 5 Secret Pathways to Happiness, Success, and Fulfillment.
Okay, so all right, so on I have it here in the second part, and I didn't have it in the first. Okay, so that is that's a great title, and it promises so much in the title. So so tell us how you found the skills to thriving and not surviving from your personal story. Or where did you get that knowledge from?
I think, like most things, it's a bit serendipitous. you have a problem, you find a way to get over it. Then something else happens and you find another way to get over it. So when I came to write Thriving, Not Surviving, it was the second book that I'd written around looking at the strategies that I'd used to overcome my challenges. The first one's called Chariots on Fire, and that's my story and the personal strategies that I used to overcome difficulty. But what I realized, when did I write? The first one was written in 2009. The second one was written in 2017. So 8 years later, I'd done a lot of development work on myself. By this time, I'd worked with thousands of people. And so my thinking had moved on. I'd got more strategies. But what I really noticed was that it didn't matter whether I was talking about me or talking about personal clients or relationship clients or business clients, wherever the starting point was, and that would often be different, in order to help people feel confident and empowered, we needed to cover 5 areas. And those 5 areas were, number 1, beliefs. Our beliefs about ourselves become our reality. If you believe you'll fail, the chances are you won't even start. If you believe you might fail, you're going to take a different set of decisions to if you believe, I'm going to succeed. I don't quite know how, but I'm going to succeed. Your beliefs about whether you're enough or whether you are too thin, too fat, too tall, too short, not rich enough, not educated enough, too old, too young, those beliefs absolutely determine what sort of quality of life you're going to have. So it makes sense to deal with those beliefs about yourself. And what I realized through my own experience is that if you focus on what you can do rather than what you can't, and you believe that whatever the situation, however bleak it is, that there are things that you can do, not only for yourself but also for other people, then your life expands exponentially. So our beliefs are incredibly important, and whether you're a business client, you're looking at how your business is going and the way in which you operate your business, or you're a leader and your beliefs about your capacity to lead and the potential of your team, that's going to have a huge impact on the outcome. The second pathway is relationships. Every relationship we have.
Let me interrupt you for a minute before we move on in that one. Because that is very powerful, the beliefs. And so coming back to you as the model, what did you believe about yourself that made you take your life to the next level?
In belief that I could. In belief that if you stay still, you stay stuck. You stay, in fact, in business, if you stay still, you're actually going backwards because your competitors are driving forwards. And I believed, perhaps it was my upbringing, that if you're not feeling very well, if you're feeling fed up, then actually go and focus on doing something positive and constructive for other people. And so for me, it was an integral part of who I am. You know, we're the common denominator, aren't we, in every moment of our lives. So I could stay and be miserable and focus on the fact that I was in pain, that I was always fatigued, that I was very, very limited, and there were lots of things that I couldn't do. Or I could focus on the fact that I could still make a difference. I could do something that I loved. And I just had to become, A, a very good problem solver, and secondly, have a very, very well-developed sense of humour, because most of the times you've got you end up crying or laughing. And actually, it's better for you if you can laugh at it rather than cry at it. Now, I don't want to give the impression that there weren't dark days, because there were.
Of course. Of course.
But if I look back at that experience, the approach which was around, okay, I'm feeling fed up, I can't do this, having those moments of doubt and those moments of being self-pity, if you like, were very quickly replaced with, come on now, that's enough. now what can you do? How can you turn this round? Because ultimately, if I'm the common denominator in my life, why would I choose to stay in a place where I was miserable?
Right. Well, you have to have, like they say, you if you're going to be drowning, you have to learn to swim first. So a lot of times when people get into the situation like you were in, they flounder because they haven't had the background. So the fact that you were able to get yourself out of the doldrums and get yourself out of those bad days, I specifically can point to one section into your story and put a pin in there, and that's when you said that you couldn't do anything. You couldn't reach for a cup. You couldn't do anything. You just had to wait for someone to do it for you. And I'm positive that was a dark day until you told yourself, or you said, well, hey, you know what? Maybe it's only temporary. I can still talk. My brain still works. You know, when you were talking about that, I reminded me of Stephen Hawking. I just saw him yesterday in one of my favorite shows. He came. He's dead now, but there's a rerun, and can't move any part of him. Can't move. His head is off to the side, you know, and he lived for maybe 40, yeah, because his started at 28. He lived until like he was 80 or something, right? Yeah.
But
and
ultimately, he looked at finding a way, and I think, you know, one of the things that's happened over the years, I've become a pretty good problem solver. You know, sometimes it's a little the routes to solving the problem are a little far out there, but most of the time I can find a route round things. But, you know, there have been times when I've self-limited, and I'd like to share a story because I think it's such a powerful one. While I was ahead, I think I said that I did a lot of roles outside school, and they would be all over the country. But I always used the same taxi firm, and the same taxi driver would pick me up, take me to where I was going, and bring me back. Now, after I had finished headship, I had wanted to learn neuro-linguistic programming, but I hadn't had the time to do it. So I became a master practitioner, and I'd done all of the program with the same organisation. So decided that I was going to take myself off, and I was going to look at different people using NLP. And I ended up at the Excel Centre in London on a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within course. Now, before I'd gone, very cynical.
I love him too. Right.
Huge American, noisy, lots of hype. It really, there's not going to be a lot there, but I'll go. And I arrived, and there were 10,000 people on the course, which in itself was just mind-blowing. And in the morning, he talked about another of his programs, and I thought, I quite fancy that. But I completely dismissed it because it was in California. And I thought, well, how would I travel there on my own? I didn't have an electric travel chair in those days. You know, how would I manage? And I just dismissed it. That evening, we did the Firewalk, and for those of your listeners who don't know what a Firewalk is, you walk across hot coals in your bare feet, about 30 feet of hot coals, and if you're in the right mindset, you don't get burnt. Now, at that time, this is 2006, I could manage a few steps unaided, and I had somebody holding my arm both sides, and I was thrilled that I managed to do the Firewalk. Not only
good for you.
Walk on fire, but to walk that far. But as I sat down in my wheelchair, the guy behind me was a double amputee. He had no legs below the knee. He walked too? He tipped himself onto his hands, and he walked those coals on his hands.
Wow.
I thought,
I'm getting chills.
If you can do that, then I'm not going to self-limit anymore. And that night I went and I booked my ticket and I booked my flight. I did all Tony Robbins stuff. I became a senior leader, and I've travelled the world speaking and working and for pleasure. And I am forever grateful to that man, who I have no idea who he is.
Yeah. He's the start of my story, too. I love him. He's the start of my story in 1992. When he was just starting out, he's the start of my story. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get to your second principle that you're going to give to us, and then we're going to take a break.
The second principle is relationships. Every relationship we have with other people is a direct mirror image of the relationship we have with ourselves. So if you don't feel that you're enough, if you listen to other people's opinions rather than trusting your own, if you believe that you deserve to be treated badly because you don't actually love and appreciate yourself, you're going to put up with people treating you in a very different way than if you actually have confidence and a good self-esteem. And so the relationships we have with ourselves are incredibly important. And I'd say to people who are listening, be your own best friend. Treat yourself as you would a really valued friend. Because the chances are that voice, that critical voice that goes round and round in your head, beating you up, saying, you shouldn't have done this, or you should have done that, or why on earth did you do that? You wouldn't do that to a friend. If they'd done something you didn't approve of, you'd probably let them know, but you wouldn't keep on and on and on and on.
Self-love, not a way of putting it. Self-love,
the other thing we do is we have a different set of criteria for other people than we do for ourselves. And most of the time, we're much harsher on ourselves than we would be with other people. So quite commonly with clients, they'll be talking about something, be talking about themselves. And I'll ask them, if that was somebody else, what would your view of their achievement or their behavior or whatever be? And I can pretty well guarantee that they would say to that
You're
other
person, applaud it.
well done, that's great.
Applaud it.
But to themselves, they say, no, it was nothing.
No, I could have done better.
So use the same criteria. Don't be easier on yourself than you are on other people, but don't be harder.
Hard on yourself either. The internal dialogue is very, very important, and it's true. One of the things that I preach is that you can't give away what you don't have. So first you have to love yourself. You have to have a good relationship with yourself, and that's really how you can show up in anything, whether it's a leader or whether it's an intimate relationship, whether it's with your children. Everything starts with definitely you, which is why coaching is so powerful, and transformational coaching is powerful. All right, well, we're getting running out of time here, so let's take our second break. And when we come back, we will ask Gina to tell us how we can get in touch with her and get her book. It sounds fascinating. Be right back.
Want access to learning tools that will help you improve your life? Visit www.loyaldetermined.com. Loyal Determined offers online dating courses for both women and men, which are easy to follow and will help you improve your existing relationship or assist you in making your next relationship succeed. Loyal Determined also offers online math courses for students who want to sharpen their skills in courses like Algebra and Algebra 2 in an engaging and effective way. Loyal Determined is also constantly offering awesome new online courses to help improve your life. So be sure to check their website frequently. Visit www.loyaldetermined.com today.
MyTaxLadyMiami.com wants to help you get your stimulus check. The IRS has released their new web tool to update your info in their systems for your stimulus payment. If you have already filed your return, you don't need to do anything. If you didn't file yet, download the My Tax Lady Miami app now and let's get your refund and your stimulus payment. If you know someone who doesn't usually have to file a tax return, like the elderly, disabled, or very low-income individuals, and want to receive their stimulus payment, send them the link available on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us, or have them visit mytaxladymiami.com, or have them contact My Tax Lady Miami to file a simple return ASAP. Payments started being sent out mid-April. That website again is mytaxladymiami.com, which is mytaxladymiami.com. Also, follow mytaxladymiami.com on all social media platforms, hashtag at mytaxladymiami.
Having computer problems? Let K-Maya get your PC or Mac issues resolved. We specialize in quick and reliable remote repair services. We can log on remotely and get your computer back up and running, or fix any issue you have in no time. And we are available 24/7. Visit us online at www.kmayainc.com/remote to book your appointment online, or call us today at 409-444-3012. K-Maya, tech made simple.
Need rocket fuel for your immune system? Whether you have a healthy lifestyle or not, no one escapes the consequences of cellular breakdown. Think of your body as the most complex communication network that exists. Every second of every day, your cells are passing tremendous amounts of information from cell to cell and throughout every system of your body. Any breakdown in this vital communication and you cannot achieve your full health or healing potential. Your body will be like a house on fire and you can't call the fire department because you have no cell signal. So you watch your home go up in flames. This is what ASEA Redox signaling supplement does. We have the only technology in the world that can increase this critical cell signaling throughout your body. ASEA Redox signaling supplement has been clinically proven to boost your immune system to optimum levels. For more information, go to www.icuhealthy.ca. That is ISEEUHEALTHY.ca. CanisBeverages.com is family-owned small business that specializes in promoting a healthy lifestyle. Our flagship product is the hibiscus tea. The tea comes in various flavors, including cinnamon, strawberry, pineapple, classic, and mango. Hibiscus tea is packed with antioxidants, and it helps with regulating blood pressure, lowers your blood fat levels, and also help fight bacteria. In this age of the coronavirus, have a sip of tea loaded with antioxidants to promote a healthy body. Visit us today at www.canisbeverages.com. That is CanisBeverages.com. Canis Beverages. You are what you drink. Do you need a loan or rent an apartment, but you don't have a credit score? Do you have a credit score, but it's low? I would like to tell you about an amazing free service offered by Kickoff. Kikoff. They build credit for free. No interest, no fee, no credit pull, no bank account or credit card required. Their customers who had zero credit were able to get a 600 plus credit score in 30 days. Kickoff is an official member of all 3 major consumer credit bureaus and will establish your credit history with all of them. It is a mission-driven company backed by social impact investors. Credit building should be free, and now it is. Build your credit and receive free credit scores at Kickoff's website today. That's Kickoff without the C. So KIKOFF.com. That website again is KIKOFF.com.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio hour and podcast. I'm your host, Coach Renee Young, and in the co-host chair today is Gina Gardner, best-selling author, motivational speaker, empowerment and relationship coach, and transformational leadership training. And I know each and every one of you that have listened to this interview knows that she can back up every one of those titles. This has been an amazing interview on resilience, on living your best life now, which is basically, the tag of the show. And I really, really enjoyed listening to your story, Gina, and listening to your mission and your purpose. And I'm so glad that you could find happiness. And then the Tony Robbins piece. That is amazing. He, I'm not understanding how he does it, but he's changed so many people's lives, and he keeps doing it. I was just on his, they had him and they had a webinar just a couple of weeks ago where, they have this new knowledge broker training that they're doing, and they had like 100,000 people on the call. So it's great that we can hear stories of how people can positively impact people. So I absolutely love that. All right. So as we wrap up, tell us how we can get a hold of your book. Get some more information on your leadership training, which is called Genuinely You. And I understand that you also have a free gift to leave with the listeners. So
that's great. Thank you very much. If people are interested, particularly in the personal and spiritual development, in fact, all of the programs, go to my website, which is genuinely, then a hyphen, a little dash, and the word you.com. That's genuinely-you.com. And you can find all sorts of resources, lots of free stuff, but you'll also find my one-on-one coaching program and my Enlightened Leadership program. If you want to look at the leadership program, and that's Leadership for Life. It's holistic, it's 10 months long, it's been accredited by CPD and counts for 120 CE hours, but it looks at personal and spiritual development and leadership. And I know the stuff works because it's the stuff I've been using for years. And the website for that is enlightenedleadership.co. That's enlightenedleadership.co. Now, whether you go through the genuinely-you.com or enlightenedleadership.co, you can contact me through there either by email or you can book a discovery call. But what I would say is the books are on the website. They're also all on Amazon. You can find them there. But probably the best place to go is genuinely-you.com because you can find all of the programs there. I've got a paid membership group for people who would like to be with like-minded people, to be seen and heard. So genuinely-you.com, and leadership is enlightenedleadership.co. And what I'm offering today for people is a 7-day happiness challenge, which is a series of 7 videos. Each one of them is full of advice and tips on how you can live a much happier life, how to be happy, stay happy, and spread happiness. And I believe you're going to put the link for that on the show notes, but you can also access that through the genuinely-you.com website.
Perfect. All right. Oh, thank you. All right. So on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us, which is easier for you listeners to remember, I will have links to Gina's genuinely-you.com and also her enlightenedleadership.co. And links to her book. So there'll be 3 links on there. And, of course, if you want to listen to the transcript of this show, you can also pick it up on blog.myhelps.us. So, wow, yes, 7-Day Happiness Challenge. That is something that, you should all run to. It's free. And, challenge yourself, because we all want to be happy. I think it's the number one thing that if you ask anybody what they want, they'll tell you that they want happiness. Now, everybody has different things that would make them happy, but in the end, that's all we want to be. So, I myself is going to click that link and take my happiness challenge. Maybe I'll pick up a few tips. So, Gina, this has been a blast. I definitely have to get you on again. You touched on a bunch of nuggets that I would love to unpack. So maybe we can talk about you coming on again for a sequel.
I'd be very happy to do that. I'm very happy.
Yes. So thank you very much. I think we're fresh out of time. So just want to remind you guys that I do have a group on Facebook called Life Coach, and you're all welcome to be a part of that group. There we have several coaches and people on there as well that gives up empowerment tips, on a daily basis. And it's just Life Coach on Facebook, and I will be, the person that accepts you. It's a private group. Remember to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast is available on all your podcast players. If you like the content, then subscribe. And for all the iTunes users or the iPhone users, would love a review on iTunes as well. All right, Gina, any last words before we say goodbye?
Just to say thank you very much for having me on the show. It's been a real pleasure. And to say, happiness is a choice. Why not choose to be happy?
Yeah, I like that. Let's end with that. Happiness is a choice. And it's all up to you. No one else controls your life but you. You are the CEO. All right. So until next time, namaste.